on, Fitzy.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike, and yes, I am on the camera. It is not the 3rd of October today. It is indeed the 4th, and we are going to experiment a little bit more. Yesterday, we had a few problems with the stream. We think we fixed that problem. It was the problem with the mouse and the Wi-Fi. That's been fixed. Today, we're going to try our new cameras out. So I'm going to give you a wave, and we're going to get on with the show. We're going to see how this works. It's not ideal. We haven't got the scene set up yet. So I am a mini-me in the corner. So for Devil and Kishan that were laughing, here I am. Good morning to Mags. Good morning to Kishan, Hidden Agendas, Velvet Rope, and everybody else that's in chat. I'm going to try and keep the camera running. I'm going to see how well the CPU and the machine holds up, and we'll see if we can get on with the show. Now, we have a busy day to get through. Yesterday, there was a lot of very upset people in chat. There was a lot of people complaining about the fact that crypto was over. It's finished. It's going to zero. We're going to see $30,000 Bitcoin. Ethereum's going to go to $1. I don't think any of those things are going to happen. We're going to go through the charts. We're going to go through some X files. There's some big important data coming out today. The port strike has been cancelled in America at the 11th hour, so that's not going to go ahead. So there's lots of reasons to be positive, and of course, the tensions in the Middle East are simmering. I'm not going to say they're going away, but they're simmering. So if you are in chat, say good morning. Good morning, Danny. Good morning, everybody. Pons is in chat. I hope you are all doing well. I'm going to try and look at the camera as much as we do this, and of course, hodl harder. That, I think, is the theme of the day today. Stick to your guns. You know, we've had Debbie Downers in the chat yesterday. We had a lot of negativity towards Bitcoin, XRP, crypto. It was a Ponzi scheme. All of these things, none of them are true, okay? Yes, 90% of crypto projects won't be here in 5 years' time, but we're talking about a bull run that's going to come to an end in about 12 or 13 months' time. So who cares? We're talking about what coins you should hold between now and the end of October or November. That's what matters. Now, part of my job is to try and temper you when everybody gets excited and they want to DJ into the latest meme coins. And when we're coming down is to try and make you realize that this is noise. We are going on a steady path up and to the right, but that doesn't mean we go up in a straight line. It also means we don't go down in a straight line. So you have to stick to your guns. That's the key. If your bags are packed, which I said to you all of September, then nothing that happens in October, November, or December should make any difference to you, because your bags are going to be unpacked in November next year or October or whenever your target is. That's what matters. Good morning, Eugene. Eugene got the aero dip. I didn't get any dip. I have got about $150 on the side that I was going to put into a coin. It was my birthday. Yesterday, I was going to get these new cameras. There was lots of things going on. I didn't get time to buy any dip. I know we've come up a little bit, but we're going to see where we go. I might be able to go and get some aero. But the coin that I have been DCing into, apart from a little bit of banter, has been near. So I need to go and look at the chart, see what's retraced the most, maybe get Ondo, maybe get near, maybe something like that. I'm going to go and have a look. Good morning to KB and the rest of you. Right, we're going to get on with, hopefully, as I said, hopefully this sticks and works. It's a really cool camera. It follows me around the room. It's got autofocus. It's a proper piece of kit. And I think we're going to keep using it. I want to build out some more scenes so I can go full screen. But to do that, I need to sort things out. I'm just checking the camera. I am there. Look at my little bald head. What do you expect? Bitcoin coming in at 61.4. That's a very key point for me. I'm going to show you why in a minute. 61.1 was a very key level for me. I told you about that on Monday and Tuesday. Ethereum coming in just below 2,400. BNB 550. That's come down probably 10% or so. Solana's come down the same, that's at 140. XRP, 52 cents, is holding up quite well. Now, there is some XRP news that I want to get over to you. There's a lot of confusion about the appeal from the SEC. Number one, they haven't fully submitted their appeal. Some people say they are appealing the entire case. Some people say they're appealing the fine. Some people are saying it's a mixture of the two. We don't know yet. The second part of that appeal hasn't gone in, so we don't know. Okay, but based on the price, XRP is still holding 52 cents. I think the majority of people believe that the fine is what they are appealing. Now, if that's the case, it's massively bullish, but they have 2 weeks from, I think, Wednesday to get through that. So I think they've got until the 16th of October, 15th of October to get that in. So again, not too bad news, not too bad a news. Tron and Toncoin making up the top 10. Gainers and losers then. Remember, I've said this many times, and now I'm on camera, you can see my emotion in this. FTT token is not associated with anything I can find that has any inherent value. It's a ghost coin. FTX does not exist. They ruled out bringing back an FTX2. So why are people pumping this coin? They're pumping this coin so you will FOMO in and they will dump on you. It's crap. It's an absolute piece of junk. There should be no reason to hold FTT token. Aptos is up. Celestia is doing well, but remember, Celestia is at $5. Celestia was doing well at $20. It's been wrecked. Beam is up 10. Aave is up. We've got some news about Aave. Stacks is doing well. Eigenlayer is pulling back. Remember, the airdrop happened. The price came down, and now it's starting to recover. Is it going to find $3.50, $4? Where is its natural price going to be? We're going to find out in a few weeks. WorldCoin is up. Render, Sheeb is up. Starknet. For those of you watching, I give away SHIB2. I've run out of SHIB. So if you're wondering why the airdrop, or whatever it's called, the box, isn't claimable or there's not a lot in it, I've simply run out of SHIB. I'm going to stock it up over the weekend. Sui is down 5%. It was down 10%. Remember, I think Sui has gone on a bit too much of a run to ape into now. If you've held Sui like me since about 40 or 50 cents, then there's no need to worry. Maybe at $2, $2.25, you take some profits. But at 177, I wouldn't be buying this coin yet. I would wait for a further retracement. I can have a look at the chart in a bit. Flare is down, Wormhole is down. There's not a lot of losers. Stable coins are down there, so there's not a lot to talk about. Market cap 2.12 trillion. It has come down. We were up at 2.25 trillion not long ago. That has retraced, but volume is healthy. 80 billion in volume is healthy. Again, when we get into the bull run, $100 billion, $120 billion a day is where we're at. Now, the key here is Bitcoin dominance is just under 57%. ETH is 13.5%. I think the stream is holding up, I believe. Thank you, Eugene. Yeah, I'm old now. I'm officially old. Everything is going to start drooping probably from yesterday onwards. Right, let's get through some X files and see where we're at. We're going to open the show with this one. October. You've got your Lambo, but you can't afford to eat. So you go fishing in the hope that you might get some fish and be able to feed yourself, because that Lambo currently is a lie, and we've called it Reptember, Dumptober. We've called it every name under the sun, but remember, it's only the 4th of October. We have, what, 4 weeks? Just under 4 weeks left to go. Bitcoin has retraced 9% since the 66,000 target. Price. The crowd has cooled its excitement towards crypto considerably. This change in mood is encouraging, considering markets typically always move the opposite direction of the crowd's expectation. We said this at 60,000, 65,000. We're all expecting it to go up and to the right for the entirety of October. We've retraced. But remember, on average, we go up 20% in October. So even though we're at 61,000, we are more than likely going to be over 70,000 by the end of October, as long as the macro events, the payroll, I'm going to show you that in a minute. Payroll is going to be announced today. We can't mention the names on here, but we hope that the conflict in the Middle East comes to an end, should we say. But again, we expect it to go up, it comes down. We expect it to go down, it goes up. That's the way it was. We had this same conversation at $50,000, and what did we do then? We pumped straight back over 60. Bitcoin traded above the channel highs, but has rejected yet again. This happened after making a marginally higher high above $65,000. This is a key level which remains difficult one to break. Again, this is not my target. I said it at the time, 68,000 for me was putting in a higher high. We had to break that to put in a higher high, and as far as I'm aware, we got nowhere near it. We got, what, 10% away from it? No, 5% away from it. Now then, this is not technically crypto related. 80% of the world's high purity quartz just went offline. Hurricane Helene recently devastated Spruce Pine in North Carolina, a critical hub for the global tech industry due to its production of high purity quartz. This mineral is essential for manufacturing semiconductors, and spruce supplies 80% of the world's quartz. Now, again, this isn't going to affect us today or tomorrow, but this is likely to affect us 3, 4, 5 months down the line, I would say. So I'd be careful. Good morning, Peter. Welcome to the stream. Up and down like a yo-yo. Again, it's going to react like this. The markets are the same. You know, gold has been on a run. Silver is about to break out. Stocks react the same way that crypto reacts to these kind of things. Now then, this is CleanSpark, a large publicly traded Bitcoin miner. They mined just under 500 Bitcoin in September and sold 2.5. They have got 8,000 Bitcoin. They are the stats for the miners. Again, miners are one of the indicators as to the direction of the market. Remember that when the halving happens, their rewards get halved. Simply, the income gets halved. So if they're mining $10 million a day, it goes to $5 million a day. Now, what has to happen, in very simple terms, is the price has to go up, or the difficulty has to come down. both of those things in conjunction find an equilibrium for Bitcoin. And that's what happens. And that takes 6 months. And I've said this before. Now, we had the halving in April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We are 6 months after the halving. And this is where the miners start to slow down their capitulation. That's when they start to stop selling, because the price does reach a level that they are happy with. Now, all of this is broken because of the ETFs, but October is normally when they stop to sell and the price starts to go up. So again, they've got 188,500 miners. They've generated 5,000 Bitcoin so far this year, and they're holding on to 8,000. It's not a bad return, really, especially if you are invested in the miners. Now, this is the kind of breaking news. We don't know the exact numbers today, but things are about to happen. Might get back into crypto when there is a correction in the next couple of days. Let's have a little look at this. Watch Mantra have a correction. I think Mantra is going to bounce, but I'm not going to say that. So the US is expected to report moderate September job growth. Remember, too many jobs is bad for inflation because it causes wage inflation. If there is a choice, if you can go and get 4 or 5 different jobs, then you can start to ask for higher wages, and that will swing you to go and work for those companies. So higher job vacancies is bad for an economy. What you want to see, and again, I say this before, it sounds terrible. You want unemployment to go up. You want the number of jobs available to go down, and you want to push it as close to a recession as possible, because that stems inflation. When there are 5 jobs for every person that's unemployed, they can pick and choose where they want to go and work, and they're going to go and press for the most wages because they can go down the road and play one off against each other. So we want a decent jobs report. We don't want too many, we want just enough. And we're not going to go through this. This is just the headline that I want to go through. Unemployment is 4.2%. That is steady. They are going to cut again. They cut 0.5%. We're going to see maybe another quarter, another half at the next meeting. And then if they do a quarter, they might do a quarter again. So I think another half by the end of the year is where we're going to go. But again, the dock workers strike has been stopped late on Thursday, which was, I think, 6 hours ago, 8 hours ago, something like that in America. So that's great news that the dock workers have been stopped. And I think it's been pushed forward to January next year or February next year when they're going to renegotiate. We're going to see Donald Trump come in. Donald Trump will go and see them. Again, one thing that this teaches you about who do you want in power? And again, I'm not taking sides here. Who do you want in power? Do you want somebody that pretends to sit on an aeroplane with a blank notepad in front of them and earplugs that aren't plugged in? Or do you want somebody that turns up and goes to see the rescue relief efforts, goes and visits the communities? Which one do you want in power? Because I know who I'd want in power, and that doesn't matter if they're left or right. So for me, I think what we've seen with Helene is another example of why maybe Kamala isn't necessarily the right person for the job. Now then, we're going to go off and have a look at this, which again is probably the next evolution of ETFs. It's difficult for me to see chat because how do I hide this? Close poll, there we go. Good morning, Mini Mike. Good morning, Tariq. How are you? Good morning, Chris. Yes, I am in the corner. You can see me. I wave. There we go. Right. What I'm going to try and do is keep this running as best I can. Get through the stream like this, see if this works, and then I'm going to make some more scenes. You know I like to have my rants, and I'd like to be on full screen for those rants, but I've got to design them on whatever. Also, we fixed the problem of the stream cutting out. It was a problem with the Wi-Fi and the mouse, the new wireless mouse I've got. So that's been fixed. So we should be good in a week or two, I would say. Now then, this is not the article that I was looking at. There we go. Franklin Templeton seeks the SEC approval for a dual Bitcoin Ethereum index ETF. Now, again, there's a very heavy focus on ETFs at this moment in time. There's a reason why we are focusing so much on the ETFs, because they are where the money is coming from. Every single week and every single month that goes by, the ETFs are buying more Bitcoin than is being produced. And that is a hard fact. Forget what Michael Saylor is buying. Forget what Mr. 100 is buying. Forget what you're buying. The ETFs on their own are buying more Bitcoin per month than is being produced. That, over a very long period of time, is going to cause a supply shock until we get to the point where a price is reached where those ETFs start to sell off. However, these ETFs have fairly diamond hands, and the chances are the more 3% in the portfolio, the more 1% in the portfolios that we get, the less and less we're going to see sell-offs. Now, these kind of dual index ETFs are more bullish, in my opinion, for Ethereum than they are for Bitcoin, because Ethereum's had a really terrible start. Ethereum has been absolutely kicked in the teeth. So to see these kind of dual offerings, what it means is somebody that might have $10,000 to put into crypto, who doesn't know the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, they might just put $10,000 into this and not know that they can do the Bitcoin or the Ethereum separately. They don't know which one they're going to pick. And then secondly, let's say we get the Solana or the XRP ETF. Let's say that comes along. Well, if Franklin Templeton creates a basket that's got Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin in it, then surely the choice is just to buy that index trust or fund or ETF, whatever it's called, because you then don't need to worry about whether to hold Solana or Ethereum or Bitcoin. You get this pot. And I've been saying this for a while, that further down the line, how many ETFs are 2 ETFs? I've said this before to you, I know. But when we end up with 30 or 40 ETFs, we are going to end up with ETFs of ETFs or funds of ETFs, where you buy $10,000 of the Franklin Templeton crypto fund, and that will contain 10 or 15 different crypto ETFs. So this is the next stage for crypto and the ETFs. So there's so much money coming through these ETFs that we can't just ignore it and start talking about PopCat or talking about Brett every day. We need to really have a balanced show, and that's why I talk about these quite a lot. And this is the next direction, I think, for the ETFs. So the filing on October the 2nd is in the intention to launch an index fund that has Bitcoin and Ethereum. It tracks the performance of a collection of assets. Again, this is what we're probably going to see in the future. The ETF would target Bitcoin and Ethereum. If approved, the Bitcoin and Ethereum index ETF will be traded on the CBOE. The Bank of New York, one of the largest custodians, is to handle cash. Okay, we don't need to talk anymore about that. So the good news is that we have something on the horizon that's hopefully going to stop a lot of confusion. Again, you come to crypto, there's 5,000 tokens, there's 120,000 meme coins on Solana. You don't know what you're picking, you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what you're doing. If there's an index created by the likes of Franklin Templeton, then you are going to go and buy that. Very simple. I would. I looked years ago, I bought oil stocks, and I didn't buy Shell or BP or Exxon or whatever. I bought the Guinness Oil Fund or something like that, it was called. And that held a portfolio of all the different oil stocks. Why did I buy that? Very simply because I don't know whether BP or Shell is going to perform the best, but I know oil is going to go up in value. And that was the reason. Now then, we have held a very important line, or we are now sitting at a very important line. If I can just zoom in. Oh, this new mouse is heavenly. Now, this new line is the bottom of the bull market support band, and it's 61,127. The top of the bull market support band is a little bit higher. It's probably about 63,000. Now, what we have done is we've cratered, and now we appear to be coming back up. What we want to hope is that we do not get rejected off the bottom of the bull market support band to push us down even further. An example of this is right there, which was the 13th, 14th of September. We came up to the bull market support band, we got rejected, and we came down. Okay, what we want to see from this is we want it to go up. So the next target for me, if we do hold this today, is to go towards 63,000. I know the Oracle has a mid value or a mid point at 62.5. 62.5, 63, they would be my levels for us to go towards today if the jobs report comes in good. Remember, when there is conflict, it shocks the market. When there is a pandemic, it shocks the market. Black swan events shock the market and they dump, but they also recover. You can go back and you can see many instances where we have done that. And then you will also see instances where we recover to the upside. And what we would hope, being that it's October, is we want to see something like this. Now, the issue is, how do you trade this? Do you sell on the dump and buy when you think it's going to pump? Or do you hold? Do you just hold through it? Because over the last, this is going to end up being a black line again, isn't it? Oh no. If we look at that, from probably the last 4 weeks, we've gone from 57 all the way up towards 66,000. That was a decent return. Then we've had this correction, which we know about. We know why it's happened. XRP has done incredibly well. I think XRP is following the Bitcoin price now rather than the SEC appeal. So I think that will recover as well. So what we want to see is we want to see this, and it's the weekend coming up. We want to see that kind of action, and maybe we will. Maybe we'll see that. The longer that we don't have any more conflict, I think the better we have to get back. I think next week, if there's no more conflict, I think we'll move to the upside. But if we do come down, as I said yesterday, I think if I borrow the line again, I think it was about there. I said about 58,000 would be the next line down for me. And again, impossible to tell what's going to happen, because it just takes one madman or another madman to press a button and everything's going to come down. And we don't want that for obvious reasons, and we don't want that for crypto. So I think if we don't have any more madmen pressing buttons, I think we could go back up towards getting above the bull market support band. And again, we don't want that either. We don't want to get rejected at the top of it. We just want to move nice and gently up. The RSI is looking good. The leverage is looking good. I looked at Bitcoin dominance. It's on its way back up today. ETH is still on its way down. Bitcoin is still carrying on its merry way, probably to the end of the year. So everything for me is good. Getting about above that 61.1 level for me was absolutely key. That was the key for me. Now, if we can get to 62.5 today because of the jobs report, then we're back on track. But remember, these are more shocks than a structural change to Bitcoin and crypto. That's what you have to understand. It's not a case of there's a conflict in the Middle East and the bull run is over. It's not a case of there's a conflict in the Ukraine and the bull run is over. Okay, we've had that. We've had the pandemic. We've had October. We've had all of those things, and we're still going up and to the right. But they do cause noise, and it does cause the markets to react. But causing the market to react and then changing the direction of the entire market are two different things. We are 6 months into an 18-month bull run, a third of the way in, and we might be ahead of schedule. But these macro events, these world events, they're going to keep happening, and there's probably going to be another one in January or February, and probably another one in May or June. We can't predict them, but what we can say is that they are not going to fundamentally change the market. And I don't believe for 1 second this is any kind of manipulation. When events happen like this, the markets react. It is not manipulation. Yes, of course there are people going to take advantage of this and will short the market. Of course there are. But there's also people now waiting for us when we got down to 60,000 to long the market. That's just they're playing the situation that we are in. Now then, we're going to talk about this issue. This is going to be the biggest bull run ever, says Crypto King. 57 to 58, I believe, is on the horizon. 63.5 rejection possible. I've got 63. We could get rejected off 63. I think 58,000 could be where we come down to. They're all on the cards. That's the thing. They're all on the cards. And it's impossible to say, because you could have the perfect setup for any coin, or any stock, Tesla, Apple, Amazon. You can have the perfect setup. But if something happens in the world, then it's all gone. It's all out the window, okay? It's correct until it's wrong, and that's just the way it is. You can look at Hurricane Helene. We didn't have any hurricanes, did we? We had no hurricanes. And everyone was saying, but we predicted to have 24 hurricanes this year. It's going to be the worst natural climate disaster in history. And then we didn't get many. And then Helene came along, which is the worst on record, and absolutely trashed a few of the vloggers that I follow, non-crypto vloggers. They live in some of the areas affected, and it's horrific. It absolutely is horrific. And that affects markets the same way that events around the world. So everything can have an impact. Now, Snowden is quite outspoken when it comes to all things crypto, all things to do with governments. And for various reasons, I'm not going to go into a lot of what he talks about, because there is censorship. There's things that are banned from being talked about. So I can't talk about what I want to talk about. And I have said many times I should do a Rumble, but I don't know how many people would turn up to that. But let's stick to the facts. We're not going to talk about his thoughts on the American dollar either, but we are going to talk about what he thinks about Solana. Now, Snowden has said that Solana is centralized. This was, I believe, at the Tokyo 2049 conference. He talked about lots of things at that conference, but he also said that Solana was centralized. Now, there is the purist crypto maxis, and there are the kind of the degens, the people who don't really care, and they're in two separate camps. Now, Bitcoin is king. It is. There's nothing to compare to Bitcoin. It's uncensorable. It's decentralized. Call it digital money, call it digital gold, call it digital property, digital land, whatever feels better for you to say. That's entirely up to you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're wrong or you're right. Bitcoin is whatever you want it to be. And the reason it can be whatever you want it to be is not a single person in the world can do anything to your Bitcoin. Okay, if you've got it on a private wallet, if you've got it and you've got your seed phrase, it's uncensorable, it's unlockable, it's untraceable, it's pure. Now, after that comes everything else. And everything else is on a scale of centralized to nearly decentralized. And Solana, in my opinion, is not wholly decentralized. And a lot of new blockchains are not wholly decentralized. And that's just a fact of life. And also a fact you have to remember of how new crypto is. I started when it was a dial-up AOL connection. And if too many people logged in at 5 o'clock, I got kicked off. You know, I still remember the screeching noises as it was connected on my 32 or 28.8-bit modem and all that kind of nonsense. Again, the internet is not the same today as it was back then. Solana is not going to be as centralized in 6 years' time as it is today. It's more decentralized than it was 2 years ago. The same can be said about everything. There is a certain myopia in crypto where people expect everything to be perfect today. And you have to understand everything in crypto is a work in progress. Whether you look at Chainlink, whether you look at Jupiter, whether you look at Mantra, whether you look at Ethereum, everything's a work in progress. And because of that, you cannot expect it to be as finished as the likes of a 500-600-year-old banking institution or the stock exchange. Everything's still creaking and still being put together. So whereas you have to understand that people are also very sensitive to criticism. You see it when Cardano maxis have a go at Solana. They're all very sensitive creatures, okay? And I find it funny sometimes, but also sad on other occasions. You know, you can point to any blockchain and find problems with that blockchain. There's not a single blockchain out there, including Bitcoin, that doesn't have its faults. But pointing out each other's faults is just making every other blockchain self-conscious and defensive. Now, Snowden is perfectly within his right to say Solana is centralized because he's right, but it's not. It's a work in progress. It's like if you walk into a restaurant and go and have a look at the food that you're about to eat and say, that's not ready. I don't like that, it's raw. Well, of course it's raw, the meal's not ready. And yes, you can use Solana, but it's not ready. Cardano is not ready. They have roadmaps because they're still building. Snowden criticism ignited debate over the centralization and vulnerability to outside entities. Mert Mumtaz said, show me the vector you're going to use with data to back it up. He seems to think that Solana is centralized while giving zero data to back it up. I challenge anyone to show me the precise attack vector that would let a single entity exercise a loss of funds or prolonged power over the network. I think if you took out the head of Solana, you would do a great job on it. If you took out Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation, would it damage Ethereum? Yes. If you took out Anatoly and his team, would it damage Solana? Yes, it would. How would you take out Bitcoin? You'd flood the network with transactions, as was proven by, were they called Bitcoin Wizards? Something like that. Crypto Wizards, can't remember their name now. It'll come to me. Everything is prone to attack. Everything has a weak link in its chain. So if somebody says to you, why do you hold Solana? It's centralized. You could quite happily turn around to them and say, show me one blockchain that's perfect. And everything that comes out of their mouth after that will be a lie. Because I could look at any blockchain and find evidence as to why it's not perfect. So understand that Snowden has recognized Solana and is pointing out the fault with it. But if he looked at Ethereum, and he's a way cleverer person than most out there, he could look at any blockchain and find a fault with it. He just happens to have mentioned Solana. And again, you've got these people pointing to, going into defense mode, saying it's this, saying it's that, validators, blah, 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 Solana economics, here's the facts why it's not centralized. I guarantee you could take down Solana if there was a concerted attack. And I think that's just the Taproot Wizards, they were called, the Bitcoin people, Taproot Wizards. You could take down anything. Solana, Bitcoin ground to a halt because of the transaction floods, and they did patch that, yes. Quantum attacks on some blockchains, 51% attacks on blockchains, on proof of work chains. There are issues you can have on proof of stake. You could simply buy enough of the token to take over the voting, as we saw with, is it MakerDAO? Again, everything has faults. Nothing is perfect. So validator concentration is a concern. The high degree of concentration exposes Solana to regulatory pressure from governments. Even if the validators manage to move their hardware to other geographies, ownership of staked SOL is also concentrated. Again, I think if you look at Ethereum, I think Ethereum grades its block transactions based on whether they adhere to a certain standard or not. So even Ethereum has some level of censorship on the blocks. Solana is no different. Let's not cast stones at Solana and say Solana is the only one that's got a problem. The debate over Solana's centralization touches on fundamental principles of blockchain tech, which are centralization can make a network more susceptible to attacks or regulatory pressure. I think the regulatory pressure, I think that's probably the fairest one. If you look at TON, not tons, sorry. If you look at Telegram, for example, who is their weakest link? What is their weakest link? Their CEO is the weakest link of Telegram. Now, if Telegram was like Bitcoin, without a centralized figure or organization in charge of it, then Telegram would be more uncensorable than it is today. But he is the head, and he is physical. You can get hold of him. Vitalik is physical. Anatoly is physical. Charles is physical, although Cardano has handed the reins over to the council now, so they're no longer in charge. But they're all heads, and I've said for ages, they are the vulnerability. They are the weak links in the chain. If you threw Vitalik behind bars and said to him, you need to change the way that Ethereum works, it needs to comply with international standards, of course he would agree. And then that's what's stopping them from taking one step further and limiting the size of the transactions. Again, let's see where we go. Right then, KB, not ruling out one more dip. I think we go up from here. If there is no more issues, it's very difficult to talk about these things. If there's no more issues, no more projectiles, then I think we could go very well up from here. And we do need to get above 63,000 to get back above the bull market support band. And that would be my first goal. That's my first goal. I don't care where we go after that. Get above the bull market support band. We spent a month and a bit trying to get above it. We got above it. This happened. It brought us below. Let's try and get back up. Now, we had some targets for Solana. $164 was our target. Where did we get to? We got to 162. Okay, I was $2 out. Okay, we've come back down. We've got the lows down here, 128. Where did we wick down to? We wicked down to 133. We appear to be bouncing back. We can move these around now to show you. We need to get back above 144 and probably borrow this one. Roughly $150. We've got to get back up above $150. What's that from where we are? 5-6%. It's not a massive move. We could do that over a weekend. I think we're looking good. But like I say, dangerous times, and we don't know precisely what is going to happen. Now, before I forget, one thing I haven't reminded you of, if I look at the screen over here, we're at 174,000 followers. If you are new here, and I know, ladies, I know it's been difficult to watch, to see this handsome face, but if you could press the subscribe button and the like button, that would be greatly appreciated. We are trying to get to 200,000 by the end of the year. 26,000 to go in 3 months. It's getting closer. I'm hoping we hit it in December, and we're going to try and do a giveaway when we can get some money together. We'll try and do a giveaway. So if you can give us a follow, that would be great. Greatly appreciated. Now we're going to move on. So Solana, I think we need to break 144 and 150. I'm kind of in the same camp as KB, which is I think we're going to move up. But the massive caveat is we don't know what's going to happen in the Middle East. That's the issue. And if we didn't have the Middle East issues, I'd say, of course, we're going to go up. Or if it was a one-off or something like that, then of course we're going to go up. Now, I believe there has been talk between the US and other people over there about how to de-escalate this. And I think that could be the next stage is a de-escalation, and that will help the markets. Now then, I talked about PayPal choosing Solana 8 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago when it was announced. I said it was a really good move. PayPal is looking to move into stable coins because there's a lot of money to be made in stable coins. We showed you on Monday just how much money Tether and Circle make from stable coins. It's big business. PayPal chose Camino Finance, I believe they were called. They've now used their own currency for its first ever business payment. And again, we're still at the stage of firsts, okay? Bear that in mind. You know, we talk about firsts in lots of things. The first 4-minute mile, you know, the first 10-second 100 meters. They were all set a long time ago. PayPal carrying out its first transaction in its own stablecoin. If you'd have told me that 2 years ago, I'd have said, okay, that's it, we've made it. Okay, 2 years ago, we didn't have ETFs. We didn't have PayPal looking at stablecoins. We didn't have the future president of America talking about a Bitcoin reserve, okay? People talk about when something is so unbelievable from the future, we call it magic. If you go back just 2 years from where we are now, and I gave you a list of 10 things that were going to happen in 2 years' time. So if I went back to 2021 or 2022 and said, in 2 years' time, we're going to have PayPal, we're going to have BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, we're going to have Donald Trump talking about having a Bitcoin reserve. If we're talking about nation states, I think they may have actually done it 2 or 3 years ago. But anyway, nation states holding Bitcoin. If we were talking about Robert Kennedy talking about Bitcoin and holding and buying it for his grandkids. If we were talking about The Simpsons having a crypto episode, you would have thought I was mad. Maybe you'd have believed 1 or 2 of them, but not all of them. That's where we've gone in 2 years. 2 years down the line, where are we going to be? It moves very quickly. So it's carried out its first transaction where the company paid an invoice to Ernst & Young's S&P digital platform, which allows for instant payments. The amount was not disclosed. Who cares what the amount is? That's not relevant. It launched last year and it was pegged to the US dollar with a market cap of 700 million. Now, just to put that into context, I think I said at the time, $700 million is going to generate them roughly $35 million a year in revenue. You multiply that by 10 and you get up to 7 billion, and it's generating $350 million a year in revenue from holding bonds, treasuries, whatever it is in America. So it's big bucks, it's big money. And for people new to crypto, stablecoins don't make any sense. How do you make money out of something that stays at $1? They stake it basically with the American government. They buy bonds and shares and whatever, and as long as it's backed 1-to-1, nobody should worry. It's when it depegs and it can't repeg that there's a problem, and that tends to happen when they don't have enough funds in reserve. So the Vice President says that the use of stablecoins in the business environment offers a logical alternative to CFOs as it eliminates delays and risks associated with payments that require intermediaries. PayPal continues to expand into the crypto industry. Buy, hold, we know about this. Again, this is bullish for crypto. It's not necessarily going to pump your bags too much, but it's bullish for crypto. We don't want a situation where you have Tether and Circle. We talked a little bit ago about how we don't want Solana to be opened up to political pressure. Now, Circle and Tether are both US-based companies. They could both be shut down tomorrow at the drop of a hat, and that would be the end of them. And that would be the end of liquidity. And for me, it's crypto's weakest link is Tether and Circle. So how do you remove a weakest link? You add more links to that element of the chain. So we could end up with a Ripple USD, a PayPal USD, Circle, Tether, maybe 2 more. We've got Trust in as well. We did have BUSD that got shut down by the American government. Again, American government can shut down a $4-6 billion asset. They did it. Why did they do it? Because they probably wanted PayPal instead. So you can look at the fact that we may need 8 to 10 stable coins, and we probably need some of them based out of America to hedge any future change in policy in America, because that's still the weakest link. The on and off ramps help greatly, of course they do, but getting PayPal involved means tax revenue for the American government, and PayPal are an American company, so you can understand why they went down that route. A few comments, which some of them I can't rule out. Sorry, can't read out. Eugene, I think you're right, but I don't think it will be on a, what's the word? I think they'll be subtle. I think that's what they will be. I think they will be covert, I think the word is. Now, Aave has pumped, and we talked about Sui doing the same thing. I made a video about Sui 5-6 weeks ago. The Aave fund, has been added to Grayscale, and this will allow you to hold Aave via the trust without needing to go and buy it. It expands Grayscale's list to 20 different vehicles. It's open source, we know about that. It enables the creation of non-custodial liquid markets. It allows users to earn interest by supplying and borrowing assets at either a variable or a stable rate. We know about this. We are proud to announce the creation of a new single asset crypto investment fund, Grayscale Aave Trust, which will be available through private placement, available to eligible accredited investors. And again, we don't need to read too much about that. But I think if you look at what happened with Sui got pumped, not just off this news, of course, but this helped. I think this will help Aave, but remember that not every asset that's added to Grayscale has ended up being a success. They've got Bitcoin Cash, for example. I need to sneeze 1 second. Excuse me. So they've got the AI fund that pumped. Near Protocol got pumped on that. Aave, again, I think what will happen is they will have a suite of funds, and then they will create another set of funds, very similar to what we were talking about before with Franklin Templeton making the Bitcoin Ethereum ETF. I think what Grayscale will do is say you can hold AI, you can hold DeFi, you can hold layer 1 tokens, and I think they will simplify it. Very much like saying you can buy a coffee fund or an oil fund or a space exploration fund, and you don't care what the companies are within those funds. You care about the fact that you hold that market because you think it's going to do well. So AI, everybody thinks AI is going to be one of the biggest markets in the next 4 or 5 years. So you would buy AI stock and you would buy AI crypto stock. So having an AI trust makes sense, but so does having a DeFi, because DeFi is going to be the next big thing. When the likes of Franklin Templeton and BlackRock and the likes come to crypto, they're not just going to come to crypto and try and replicate what they've done in traditional finance, because that doesn't leverage the blockchain. The blockchain can be leveraged 24/7, 365. Okay, instantaneous payments, instantaneous on and off ramps, and DeFi. You can remove an awful lot of overhead, KYC overhead, onboarding to their products. You can take away a lot of that overhead by having it on the blockchain. By doing that, you can allow smaller investors. So if you have 100,000 or 10,000 investors that have $10 or $100,000, you're suddenly onboarding an awful lot of money. And that's where they want to go. They want their 24/7 stock exchange as well. Grayscale is trying to find a halfway house between TradFi and crypto. And at some point, I imagine Grayscale are going to make the same move as well, and they are going to move into some kind of 24/7 online offering, I would imagine. Now then, Monday market might be positive. I certainly would hope so. Yes, I certainly would hope so. Right then. Now then, I'm going to watch this. Of course I'm going to watch this. Why wouldn't I? HBO have got a documentary that is coming out next week. And they claim, whether you believe them or not, they claim to be able to name the Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, I don't think they will. I think what they will do is name the same people, Craig Wright, not Hugh, Howie, there's another one. There's about 4, maybe 5 different people who it could be, and I'm going to be interested to see who they show. But what's more important than who it is many of you are not going to know what Twin Peaks is, and I appreciate that. But it was a massive TV show. Craig McLachlan was in it. It was American. They ate cherry pie. It was a beautiful little, sleepy, village in America, Midwest America somewhere. But that's irrelevant. What was important, and I've got to be careful with my words again, was one phrase went around the world for months, and it was, who? Laura Palmer. Who unalived Laura Palmer? Okay? Everybody in the world talked about it. Now, this isn't going to be on that scale. But if this is promoted well enough, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? We're going to name Satoshi Nakamoto. We're going to name the founder of Bitcoin. It's just great publicity for Bitcoin and crypto in general. And I'm not saying it's going to cause millions of retail to come back to crypto, but it's hype. You want to see these documentaries, you know, good or bad. You want to see documentaries about Ruja and OneCoin. You want to see documentaries about Satoshi Nakamoto. It's all publicity. The more people hear the word Bitcoin, crypto, the better it is for us. Now, we seem to have moved past the stage of it's all a scam, which is good. But now we're talking about mysteries. I'm sure they're going to do a documentary about the CEOs that all went missing in 2022 or 2023. I think 6 billionaires were unalived in that year. Why? And why in such a short space of time? That'll be a documentary at some point, but it's all great PR for crypto, which is what we want. You do want to see sports stadiums and sports teams and UFC and all these sponsored by exchanges. That's great. But you want to see people listen to the stories about Bitcoin and about crypto. So I have high hopes for this documentary. The identity reveal could influence the US presidential election. How do you even get to this? How? How is that a key takeaway? So they think they're going to name him. Tilted Money Electric, The Bitcoin Mystery. The film is directed by Emmy-nominated filmmaker Cullen Hoback, known for his work on Into the Storm. It will be on October the 8th, which is 4 days from now. I don't know where we're going to be able to stream it on Max. I don't know if I've got Max, but I'm going to try and get to watch it. Nakamoto is believed to control 1.1 million Bitcoin, worth 66 billion. We know that's never going to be found again. Trump has supported Bitcoin. Several Bitcoin wallets from the early days have become active in recent weeks. Absolutely true. We've looked at a few of those. Craig Wright was the guy who I think he lost this year in the UK. He couldn't prove he was Craig White. Craig White couldn't prove he was Satoshi Nakamoto. The easiest way to prove you are Satoshi Nakamoto is move 1 Bitcoin from your wallet. Everything else is nonsense. Move 1 Bitcoin. That's it. Now, again, there's lots of people who claim they know who Satoshi is. There's lots of people who say they know who he is. I have my ideas on who Satoshi is, and I believe it or not, I believe they are British. And I believe they are British or Western European educated because of the way that they, the language they used and the spelling that they used. And again, that could be a very clever guise. They could be Japanese. They could have just pretended to use the language, but I think that they were a Brit. And I think I know a couple of the names they could be. Of course, we're not going to know. There are a few people who've died since in the last 15 years who could also be, or it could be a group of people. It could be a group of 5 or 6 individuals that went under the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. We all know Satoshi Nakamoto means Motorola and whatever the other ones are. So it could be a made-up name, it could be a group of people. Now, finally, we are going to go and talk about Popcat. And for those of you that don't know, I have 3 picks for 3 meme coin picks for the bull run. And they are 3 coins which aren't in the top 5 or 6 meme coins, and simply because of the market cap and the hype around them. One of them is Brett, the other one is Mew, which sponsors the stream, and the third is Popcat. And I think those 3 are going to be big runners in the bull run. Now, I'm going to be wrong. Not all 3 are going to run. If one of them runs, then we're all good. One of them could 10x, 15, 20x. One of them could 5 or 10x, and one of them could 5x. Okay, they're not all going to 50x or 100x. I'm not going to give you that smaller coin because, as I've said before, I'm not the biggest meme coin fan, but I understand that they are not of my generation. So let's go down here. Popcat has surged past the $1 mark. I don't know if you remember on Monday or last Thursday, we talked about it going to $1. It was at 80 cents or something. It's gone past the $1 mark. It's now gone to $1 billion already. Now, just to be clear, I predicted these 3 tokens in a video from 6 to 8 weeks ago. So I am not now expecting this to 20x from here, okay? We looked at Popcat when it was 300, 400, 500 million. It's now past $1 billion. So clearly you have to reduce the target or the multiples of the target now by half because it's doubled. But it's reached $1. 153 million in volume is massive. It has come down a little bit. I do think, and I'm going to look at the chart in a minute. I think we're going to have plenty of time. Many hours chart is this. What chart? There's no chart on the screen. Popcat's market, it could come down to 90 cents, which would be support. Inverse head and shoulders pattern indicates a bullish reversal. We'll look at that. If the price manages to break above this level, it could trigger to 133. Again, if the price falls, it could go down. Let's very quickly have a little look at the chart. We don't need to look anymore at that. I've just seen the time. I didn't realize it was. It's pretty much 12 o'clock. We've got to the end of the stream, but I'm going to have a very quick look at Popcat and see where we are. Also, drop a comment in chat if you like to see the camera. Do you want to see me on camera? Does it help you? Do I get my emotion across more on camera? Does it not make any difference? Let me know what you think in chat. Let's very quickly have a look at Popcat. I have got a chart somewhere, but I didn't look it up. Again, we are at a very, very, very crucial level. If I put that line in there. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay, so we are rattling around this level here, which is super critical. Now, again, I'm not going to start drawing Moon Boy predictions because that is not what I am here for, and we're probably going to run out of time. But you could argue that this, depending on where you take it from, could run us up to here, which is 133, 134. It said that 133 was the target. I haven't drawn it perfectly. I don't care. It's not the point. Let's bring it back down to here. 134. The article gave you a target of 133.5. Again, I don't know. It just looks pretty much like it could do that. I've picked it. I'm not sponsored by Popcat, by the way, and I don't hold any Popcat. It's not what I don't do meme coins apart from I've got some Mew and I've got some Bonk. I think that's about it. That's all I've got. But I do think it's going to do well. As with Brett, let's very quickly go over here. Before you go, by the way, don't go anywhere because I am going to bring up something in a second. So don't go too far away while I bring something up. Especially if you are the OGs. I just want to put out a reminder because I'm not streaming tomorrow or Sunday. We will probably be going to the office to do some review videos and things like that. So here we go. Now, the issue is that I can have 3 picks for the bull run and I can be wrong. Okay, let's just get that out there. Of course I can be wrong. Nobody's going to predict the future. My issue is PopCat. If we look at these three prices. Now, PopCat, Brett, and Cat in a Dog's World Mew were my three picks. And when I looked at them, I think Brett was at about the price it is now, 800 million. PopCat was a little bit lower, I think it was 650. And Cat in a Dog's World was about 354. So when we get to make these little like 60-second videos or review videos, whatever it might be, you have to take the price targets that I gave you back then. Now, I said Brett could 10x, maybe even 12 or 13x. That'd put it at 10 billion. Cat in the Dog's World can easily do 15x. PopCat, from where it is now, may only do a 9x. So I just want to put that out there. Just because I've got three picks, you have to remember the price changes all the time. If we have another 30% correction, PopCat comes down to 50 or 60 cents. Of course, the market cap is going to come down with it, maybe to 600 million. Then you would look at a 15x. But as it is now, it's at 1 billion. You've got to look at the market cap, and you've got to understand that these are moving milestones all the time, not for the end result, but from where you're going to get to from here. So a 10x from a billion is a 20x from 500 million. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So even though I'm picking those three, as we get further down the bull run, I might say PopCat's likely to do a 4x from here. Cat in a Dog's World is only likely to do a 6x from here. So you've got to bear that in mind. Now, we're going to say goodbye to a couple of people. So don't go anywhere. I have brought this up. It is better when I can see you. Good. I'm glad. I'm going to try and do, like I said, I'm going to try and do a full screen version for this. But I think I'm probably going to disappear off the screen for a second. I'm just going to say goodbye to a few people. I will be back on Monday. The Oracle is streaming tonight at 9 p.m. So he's back in 9 hours' time. So make sure to tune in for him. The rest of you, don't go anywhere for 1 second. That one. And then this one. Okay. We are gone. Now then, what I want to show you very quickly is a reminder. My face has gone. This is next Wednesday. If you are an OG and you have missed any of the streams that we've done, we are giving you one of these devices, a physical device. I told you about it yesterday. I'm telling you about it today in case you've missed it. One of you will win. I believe there are 12 or 13 names on the list. If you are an OG, you will win this next Wednesday. One of you. I will need an address wherever you live, or wherever you work, or wherever you want us to send it to. We will send it to whatever address you give us. Secondly, if you are not an OG, we are going to give away some cryptocurrency. So you will still win if you're not an OG. This is next Wednesday. Today is Friday. Believe you me, these Wednesdays come around really often. Now, this will be the third Wednesday on the trot that we've done a giveaway. We did New 2 weeks ago. We did what was it called? Kronos on Tuesday, and we're doing this next Wednesday. There's probably going to be a break of a couple of weeks before we do the next one, which will be a new night again. So bear with us while we have a few breaks. The problem is I don't make as many videos when I'm preparing these live streams, the evening ones. So I don't have enough time in the day. So this is next Wednesday. If you're an OG, you will automatically be entered. If you can't make this night, it doesn't matter. All of the names are going in. And then hopefully one of you will win. I will be very happy if any of you win, to be honest. Very, very happy indeed. Now then, that's it from me on a Friday. Let's very quickly go and have a look at crypto chart one last time before we go. Bitcoin is coming in at what? 61.3? 61.3. So come down a little bit. As long as we keep above 61.1, I will be happy. We did it. We've managed to get through a stream. It hasn't died. I have been on camera for the entire stream in the corner. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to Danny, Solo Sky, Kishan, Eugene, Chris, KB, everybody that's come in. See you all on Monday. Oracle is back tonight. I'm going to make my OG video over the weekend as well. So I'm going to do some videos this weekend. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a good weekend if I don't see you. Adios.